Neill, welcome back to RaithTV. How are you?
Good, very good, thanks.
After the sort of well thought out battle at Firhill last week, after the week that we've had, a bit of reflection on that, have you got any final thoughts on the result last Saturday against Partick Thistle?
I think a point away to Partick Thistle, any time's a decent point. Felt we should have went on and won it. I thought we were going to go on and win it. I think we had a lot of momentum in that second half, and just two or three maybe missed chances. Their goalie made a couple of good saves, but really pleased with the boys, the way that they took the game on in the second half. I think that I've seen a couple of fans around Kirkcaldy this week, and they've kind of both mentioned that the second half performance was great. I think you could see that from the fans' reaction. It was brilliant. So it would have been nice to get the goal to win it. I think it would have been a special day, but I was really pleased with the way they responded.
When you look back in that game, and as a manager, we're sort of getting to know you a lot more, the style of football that you like to play, the formations, and also how you look to your bench. And that was one of the things at half time, you weren't scared to go to the bench and ring the changes. Is that something that you see yourself as in a manager? Yeah,
I think over my however long 250 games or so, especially now that you've got five subs. All the players are here for a reason. They're all here because they can do certain things, and is it ever nice to take someone off at half time? No, but if it's for the best of the team, then that's what you have to do. And I felt that we needed Finlay Pollock's pace. That's what he's here for. He brings that pace, he brings that dynamism up the top, and Dicey was the lad that came off. But again, in the future there'll be other changes, I'm sure, and they'll always be for the right reasons, to try and win the game.
And of course, not just changing personnel, but being able to change shape. But is that something that you work on regularly, so that we can have different sort of elements of attack and formations and things like that as well?
Yeah, I think people forget at times you've got an opponent that plan and watch and scout and do things, and we always have to be prepared. We want to be very, very good at certain things, and we want to just improve as a team, but we also respect the fact there's an opponent, so at times we have to change. So whether it's a back four, front three, front two, we've got players that allow us to be adaptable, and it's not about changing every week for the opponent, but it's about being able to maybe have a couple of changes, plan A, plan B. So I think the players have been very, very good at responding to that, implementing that, and as I say, the second half was as much about the ingredients that Finlay brought to the table and the change of shape. So as I say, the players carried it well. I think they'll be the first to admit there was lots of good things about the first half, but there was some sloppy mistakes in there, and sometimes it just needs a freshen up. And I think I should add the other players that came on Saturday were very good as well. Like Gibble came on and really get into the game quickly, because it's difficult. Cody David, Ross Matthews, they all came on and played a part.
Yeah. Well, speaking about opponents, we are playing against Greenock Morton at Starts Park tomorrow. We're at that stage now in the season where we're playing teams for the second time, but from your own perspective, it's a start for you being able to play against an opposition that you've already faced as a Raith Rovers manager. So how are you feeling for the challenge against Greenock Morton?
Yeah, good. I think you're right. I think it's been good for me, going to places like Firhill. I've been there growing up. I played there a long time ago, but being in this league, and as much as I know about the league, it's to experience it and come up against certain players and certain teams, certain managers. So coming around for the second time now, I'd like to think that I'll be even more prepared. The team's getting better all the time. I think we can see that. So, I've watched Morton the other night at Livingston. They're an awkward outfit. They do both sides of the game pretty well. But this is a game at Starts Park where we want to implement our own game.
Of course, after the last time we faced them, we were disappointing result at the end of the day. So you'll be wanting to right that wrong as well.
No question. I think when you're coming off a defeat against the team previously, it's a chance to put it right. I think that was a real tough one that day. Probably one of the only halves of football where the second half, where we really just started off poorly and didn't get back in the game. Can't have said that too often about this group. So hopefully we'll learn from that.
And on the subject of players and the group of players, obviously Callum Smith's injury, we're starting to see and hear that it's a lot worse than maybe expected. Have you got a few words on Callum?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, Smithy in my time here has been the consummate professional, really worked hard, really been an important player, and really got that opportunity against Ayr, having come off the bench and made an impact. And then the only damp spot in that night was the fact that Callum picked up such a serious injury. I think it's just important that as a club we support him, help him. He's such a, as I say, a positive lad. So if any, again, like Vonnie, these lads are resilient. They'll come back from these things, and it's just up to us to try and help them. I'm sure anyone that sees them around will put arm around them.
Absolutely. And on the subject of positivity and things like that, you've strengthened with extending the contract to captain Scott Brown. What's that decision behind that? You've come in, you've seen Scott as a captain, as a leader. You must be really pleased with how he's been and wanting to carry on with the club.
Yeah, I'm over the moon that we've managed. I think it says a lot about the club, the quickness to act and make sure that we're securing someone that's obviously a very, very key player for us, but also key in terms of the changing room. Obviously I've been in here now, I think, a couple of months. I've had the opportunity to sit down with John and the board and discuss and plan, and that's the thing, we're not just thinking about the next couple of months and this season, we're thinking about how we keep building this team, and Scott's integral to that. I've enjoyed working with him, and I'm looking forward to working with him for the next few years. So again, I think if I was a Raith Rovers fan, I'd be really pleased at that, the fact that he's come in right now, because I know that he wants to take this club where everyone wants it to be.
Absolutely. I think as a fan you always look at a captain the way that you like to see these captains, but from your own point of view, what is it that you look for in a captain of your squads? Yeah,
I've had different types of captain. Of course Brownie's been the captain prior to me arriving, but I can see exactly why. He leads by the way he plays, he leads by the energy, the intensity. I think that's the biggest thing. We all have different types of captains, we've all got different visions. For me, he does that, the way he trains, the way he plays, the way he prepares. So he's a great role model, and we've got other leaders in the squad as well that can bring different things, but he certainly exhibits a lot of the values that I think the club want to see, and certainly what I want to see. So that's why we're really pleased that he's committed to being part of it.
We're in the thick of the Scottish Championship now. Every game's a big game, but how important is it going to be that the supporters turn up in their numbers tomorrow to get behind the lads and try and cheer us over the line against Greenock Morton?
Yeah, it'd be great. I think they've seen at home, the type of performance they've been producing, and that's still just very early days, so we want to keep building on that, scoring goals, being exciting to watch. So we hope that everyone that comes tomorrow, that's what we're going to put on, that's what we're aiming and striving to do regularly. And I think if you speak to anyone, that was at Forhill this week, my son was in the away end, Dylan Easton's free kick, moments like that. It's why we pay our money, and we want fans that come here that pay our money to watch not just players like Dylan, Finlay, they're exciting, but the team, and the type of team that we want to be. So hopefully see them all tomorrow.
Fingers crossed, all the very best.
Cheers.
Thanks.